Quick disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I do not hold any licenses. I am not giving anyone any legal advice or telling them what they should do with their money. This is strictly my opinion about these topics, and that is all. Thank you. Hey everyone, welcome to my next video on good financial discipline and building financial security. And this video is going to be about correcting poor money habits and learning to adjust and change those. So let's get right into it. Starting off with number one is going to be to know where your money is going. If you don't know where your money is going every month, you're never going to be able to save and be able to build and grow. If you go every month and just pay things as they come, and at the end of the month you're waiting for that next paycheck, well, what you need to do is you need to be seeing where is every dollar going, because once you can track that down, you can see, wow, I'm overspending on this or overspending on that. I spend 800 a month on eating out, or I spend this much on streaming services. And that's just, without knowing where any of that your money is going, you're just not going to be able to know how much you can save or even what you've got left over at the end of the month and what you should do with it. And jumping right into the second thing, which follows the first one, is to calculate your monthly expenses and know your survival cost. And what I mean by survival cost is exactly what it sounds like. What do you need to survive? Now, I think you should see exactly where every dollar is going, but you should also know, what do I need bare minimum every month to get by, to pay your rent, to pay your water bill, to pay your gas bill, your electric bill. What is the absolute bare minimum I need? Because jumping into the third thing, which is going to be your savings. And the goal, right, is to try to save at least 3 months of your bare living expenses that you need to survive in case of an emergency or you lose your job or something like that. That way you can get by without having to stress or worry as much about day to day things and be worried all the time about what happens if I break my foot, or I have a flat tire, or I need to repair a water leak. And on top of that, going into the fourth thing is you need to automate your savings. And what I mean by that, it sounds pretty simple, but I'm human just like everyone else. And a lot of people, and I would tell myself this, oh, when I get paid at the end of the week, I'm going to, pay off my credit card and I'm going to pay this. And then I'm sure I'll have like 300 left over and I'll put that in savings. Or, oh, I've got 500, I'll put that in savings. And what would happen? I'd take that money and I'd go buy a watch, or I'd go buy shoes, clothes, go have a nice dinner, really just anything, because I saw it was free floating money. I didn't have to spend it on bills. But by automating my expenses, every time I get paid, having a portion of my paycheck going into savings, I'm not touching it. I don't see it. It just happens. It's almost like the government taking taxes, right? It goes and it stays there, and I don't touch it because it's for emergencies. And when an emergency does rise, boom, I've got it. And look, I get it. Everybody's not in a position where they can just set 10% of their income aside, or 15%, or what have you, right? Especially if you're just starting out, if you're trying to correct these poor money habits that you've had from, just always had from growing up, it's going to be a really hard change, but I know you can do it. Everyone can do it. I believe in you. And even starting with as little as $100 a month, or whatever you can, afford to set aside is better than nothing. And I guarantee you, once you start correcting those habits and you start doing the right things, you're just all the pieces are gonna fall together, and you're gonna start getting better with it and better with it, and you're gonna want to grow and learn and just do better with your finances to become more financially secure and stable. And that leads me into the fifth thing, which is delayed gratification. And I'm sure a lot of people have heard this, but it really, instead of you get paid and saying, oh man, I've worked so hard, I deserve this, I've earned this, and just buying it right there on the spot, or before you even get paid and you're using a credit card, right? What you need to do is just wait. I guarantee you that thing, that watch, those shoes, those clothes, whatever it is that you're wanting to buy because you earned it, you deserve it, will be so much sweeter when you are more secure. You'll have less stress from having a savings. But on top of that, when you buy that item, it'll feel so much sweeter that you didn't put it on a credit card, that you don't have $0 in your checking account because you spent your last dollar for this item. And it'll make you really respect yourself more, I feel like, and just feel so much better about buying that item and less insecure about it. And this leads into the sixth thing that I think is so important, is to set goals along the way, right? If you're working up to pay off debt, or say get that 3 months of living expenses, or whatever goal it is you're working towards, the main big goal you have, set small ones along the way. Set small ones. If you need, let's just say you need $8,000 to be saved up for you to have 3 months of living expenses, or 6 months, or whatever, set small goals along the way, that I'm going to save 1,000, or I'm going to save 2,000. But not only that, with those goals, have little treats. It doesn't have to be all forego everything and just live on beans and rice and toast, and you can't have coffee, you can't have any luxuries. No, you should treat yourself. If you've been doing good, you're saving, you're tracking your expenses and stuff, and then it's been a month or two, go out, have a nice dinner. I'm not saying go broke and put it on your credit card and like have like a $500 dinner, but you have to treat yourself every once in a while. Otherwise, what's the point? And lastly, for the seventh thing, is emotions. Finances and money is so emotional. We carry this, we learn our financial habits from our parents at a very young age. I know I did, and I wanted to do better. And I'm not saying anything poor or ill towards my parents, but I look back and I want to do better than that. I want my my children to feel secure. I want to feel secure myself and just not be stressed, not have everything financed and on debt. I I want that for myself and my family. And it's going to be a very emotional thing to change these habits, but I know you can do it, and I know that everyone can do it. And along with this, what works for me may not work for you, but my hopes and my goals are that anything I can give you, if it's even one sliver of advice that I give out of anything, and that can help you, then I think that's fantastic. And that's all I can ask for. I hope y'all have a great night.